Woo boy. Hey, good evening. I'm Jarrin Jackson. I love America. I am the America First candidate running for Oklahoma State Senate District Number 2. There is a runoff on August 23rd. We've got early voting tomorrow and Friday and half day Saturday if you choose to do that. This is my number. This is my phone, 918-845-9555. We're going to be talking about momentum, and then we're going to open it up for some questions and comments. If you wanted to help participate and push the message, you can donate here. Jackson, if you get a message from me, for my Telegram audience, if you get a text message from me, that is from me. You can always go to this website right here, jacksonoklahoma.com/donate. We're pushing for a $15,000 fundraiser because every single time we push a message, the dirty swamp money ups their buy. They just track what we do and then they buy more. And so it turns into a spending spree because this outside PAC money, these swampers, they've got limitless pockets, mostly because a lot of them wash tax dollars through corrupt schemes. They take your tax money and then they weaponize it for political propaganda. And so that's what we're competing against. We're competing against the dirty swamp money. My name is Jarrin Jackson. I'm a combat veteran. I'm a Bible believer. I've never taken the swamp money. I won't take the PAC money. I don't have lobbyists. I won't take money. I'm an America First combat veteran running on border security, stopping the perversion of our kids, going against big tech, not touching your guns, having a robust Second Amendment, defending the Constitution. Folks, I just want to be left alone. But they're not going to leave us alone. These globalists are on the march. The swamp is deeply rooted into our society. They're lying. They're coming after all sorts of folks, and we are winning. We've got good momentum. We're seeing it on the doors. We're seeing good responses to all the things that we have going on. Just today, I want to announce that I have been endorsed by the governor of Arizona, Kari Lake. Now, of course, Kari Lake is the Trump-endorsed governor. She is the leader of the America First movement in Arizona. She was the one that defeated all the swamp money coming into Arizona, Arizona being critical for election integrity in the 2020 election. And so to have Kari Lake's endorsement is to be a big deal. Basically, this is just an acknowledgement that this is the Trump campaign. This is where the America First people are, is with me and Jarrin Jackson, this state Senate District Number 2. So I want to say thank you very much to Kari Lake. We want to pray for her. We want to make sure that she gets elected into Arizona. She's Trump endorsed. Another good friend of President Trump, Mr. Mike Lindell, endorsed me today. Yes, the My Pillow guy, the Bible-believing Christian who has come out of drug addiction to run the lovable pillow company, and now he's branching into all sorts of other things. So entrepreneur, Bible believer, outspoken Christian, Mike Lindell endorses us today. So we have a lot of momentum coming into the end part of this campaign. Very thankful for them. Also very thankful to the people that I talked to on the door. Talked to a lot of people on the doorstep. We've knocked thousands upon thousands of doors, getting very good responses every day. Today was a great day because we've had triple-digit heat, and today we had overcast skies, and it was, I think, in the 70s all day. So it was a great day. That's why I was a little bit late getting back to the house here. One of the things that I talked to people on the doorstep about is the corruption in Oklahoma. The swamp money, the Biden administration, these deep swampers, they've got their clutches in everywhere. And one of the things going on is people washing taxpayer dollars through agencies that taxpayers have their money go to, and those agencies reroute their money back to political advertising. You don't have to go very far to learn about the epic edtech corruption, EdTech corruption, epic charter schools, and I support school choice. I absolutely support. But Epic Charter Schools receives 100% funding from taxpayers in Oklahoma. The taxpayers fund everything in Epic EdTech. Epic is cutting checks to people that then take that money and then go push political messages. So our tax dollars have gone through an agency or an institution, and then that institution is then cutting checks to people that get politically active. That political activity comes in the form of mailers. It comes in the form of attack ads. It comes in the form of electioneering, trying to change people's perspective. These aren't attacks. This is just the truth. This is publicly available information. This is not hard to find. It's out there. And more people are figuring this out. More and people understand the corruption that's going on. They just didn't know that it was directly linked to this state Senate seat. This state Senate campaign is ground zero against the swamp. If you are an America Firster, if you love America, you want God, you want the Bible in schools, you want your border defended, you want people to be left alone, you want your Second Amendment, the swamp wants this seat. Thankfully, we've got the momentum. We saw that all throughout the doors today. Great momentum because people are learning the truth about the corruption, and they can't stand it. What they want is their border secured. What they want is America first. They want a combat veteran who owns businesses, who has a family that he's trying to defend. They want people who have the life experience, who are qualified, who've got the conviction in order to do what they say they're going to do. This is a mailer that I want to point out. This is our border security mailer. So this is hitting the homes all throughout the district. I want to secure the border. I don't know why we don't talk about securing the border. I don't know why we don't empower sheriffs to detain illegals, to deport illegals. I don't know why we don't have a robust understanding of the Second Amendment, which guarantees us the right to militia, the right to keep and bear arms. I don't understand why we don't talk like this. Maybe because we've been made to feel like it's not patriotic or it's not American to defend the Second Amendment. But I'm never going to touch the Second Amendment. I own an ammunition business. I want a robust view of the Second Amendment. But securing the border is critical. And you can do that by passing E-Verify to turn off the magnets. Don't let illegals work in this state. If you find them, detain them, deport them. So we want to figure this out. We want to go for this. This is absolutely doable. No sanctuary cities. We want a temporary immigration freeze coming into this country. We want to make sure that Americans get jobs first. So this is one of the bigger issues that I'm running on. Last thing I want to say, you may have seen, we've been hitting China. China owns 5% of Oklahoma. 5% of the dirt in Oklahoma is owned by China. And I think that's wrong. I think we need to seize it. This morning, we released a video. If you followed me on social media, I just want to play that for you real fast. Watch this.
Hey, my name's Jarrin Jackson. I'm the America First Patriot candidate for the state Senate runoff in Oklahoma District Number 2, Combat Veteran Bible Believer. In 1999, 2 Chinese colonels wrote a book called Unrestricted Warfare. The communists said that they would destroy America without firing a shot. They would take over our economy, they would pervert our culture, and eventually they would say, we have global supply chains, we have empty store shelves. You know, everybody knows, we have corrupt politicians. The swamp money is pouring in to races all over the country. And in Oklahoma, my home state, 5% of my state is owned by the Communist Chinese. They're running rampant. They're executing their battle plan. Their strategy is working flawlessly. We're not going to take it. America's not for sale. And if you vote for me, we're going to stop it here in Oklahoma. My name is Jarrin Jackson. The runoff election is August 23rd. Now remember, we're going to put America first. We're going to stop these communists.
Always looks cooler in the movies, but that went up in flames pretty quickly. What's going to happen whenever I get elected and we go straight after and we start to seize all this communist land? That's what we want to do. We want to seize the communist land. We want to give the proceeds back to the people. America should be owned by Americans. I don't want any Chinese government coming in and buying the land. In America, we bought the Louisiana Purchase. We bought Alaska. This is our land. China is trying to do the same thing right now. They wrote a book about it in 1999 telling us what they were going to do. I'm a combat veteran, spent time in Afghanistan. When your enemy tells you what he's going to do, you believe them. If they're going to put it in a book, read the book. Study it, because that's what they're going to do. They're telling you what you're going to do. The Chinese wrote a book, Unrestricted Warfare, saying they're going to undermine and overthrow America without firing a shot. Now, I want to talk about momentum. And again, you can start to call 918-845-9555. That number is this phone. You can call it right meow if you want to. The momentum that we're seeing is incredible. I want to ask you, again, if you get your mail, it needs to say paid and sponsored by, paid and authorized by Jarrin Jackson 2022. If it doesn't come from the candidate, then it is swamp money. If it doesn't come from the candidate, then it's swamp money. All of my advertisements, all of my mailers, all of my commercials, everything that I send is 100% public information. You can see where the money comes from. You can see that we have donors from every state in the union, because patriots around the country love this message. They love it so much that they support the message. The majority of the money comes from either myself or people in this state. So there's a lot of people that are really upset about the amount of support we have, and that's just because the swamp can't counter it. The swamp can't counter patriots donating to patriot causes. So if you want to do that, that's jacksonoklahoma.com/donate. We appreciate that. We want to finish strong. If you're a voter in this district, one of the most powerful things that you can do, snap a picture of this card. If you want a card, need a card, send a text message to this address, to this phone, and we'll bring you some. Take a picture, go through the contacts in your phone, and say, this is the guy we're going to vote for. Have you set a reminder for August 23rd so that your phone blows you, pings at you and says, go vote for Jarrin. And then if you tell people, you tell 5 people, 10 people, if you tell these people to go vote for me on election day, would you please follow up with them? Would you please say, hey, did you go vote for Jarrin? Get them out to the polls. This is a high energy momentum. This is the election. We're pushing towards the accomplishment. If you want to overcome the swamp in Oklahoma, if you want to send a message that the entire state's going to hear, you get these people to vote. You get them out to the polls. You get them to go vote. You make sure that they understand that America first is what we want. We want fair elections. We want secure borders. We want our Second Amendment, all of it, not it chopped up. We don't want federal agencies to whimsically try to take away what God has given us, what is perfectly enshrined in the Constitution. We want everything that we have in America. We want our freedom. We don't want people to exploit us anymore. We also reject corruption. We reject this swamp money. We don't want the Soros fake news. We don't want the propagandist hit jobs. We don't want the mudslinging. We want the facts. If someone's corrupt or doing corrupt things, we need to be able to say that. If someone speaks their mind, well, then that's just them exercising their First Amendment. You can disagree with them, but that doesn't mean they don't have the right to say it. We need to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm a Bible-believing Christian. People need to know the death, the burial, the resurrection of Jesus Christ is the only way. That's what I believe. That's what the Bible teaches. And that's what I'm going to say in office. That's what I'm going to say out of office. People need to know the truth regardless of what's going on. So I'm a never swamper. I have no swamp money, no lobbyist money, no PAC money, no Soros fake news, puff pieces. They all hate my guts because they don't want the America First message. They don't want we the people to assert our voice or to have our freedom defended, which is why all of this money is coming in. And that's why all of these other advertisements, they don't have a picture with President Trump. What they have is mailers or messages coming from swamp money. You don't know where it comes from. You don't know who's behind it. But if you follow the paper trail, you can see your tax dollars getting washed through these agencies coming back to you in the form of a political advertisement. I don't know about you, but I don't want to pay taxes to have corrupt people give me back my tax money in the form of political advertising. I think that's wrong. And I think people need to say it, which is why we are. Anyway, this is 918-845-9555. What are we saying? Let's see. Okay, we got a lot of people sending me text messages for signs, so that's good. Thank you, but those aren't questions or comments for me to talk about. So no, not a problem. If you want a sign, keep texting sign. I've got a lot of sign requests. Here we go. Okay, so someone says, "Hello, Jarrin. I don't live in your district, but not far. I have a few questions regarding the tribal nations and moves my chief as well as others are taking. Anything to do with the nations are pretty complicated. I would rather touch on this more privately at first." Well, I just read the text out loud. So I don't know what the issue is, but tribal sovereignty is a big deal. Hold on, someone's calling. Okay, here we go. This is Jarrin. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jarrin. I was curious what you what would you say to an atheist that is looking to vote for? I support your message. I support what you are trying to accomplish for the Second Amendment and for our country.
Sure.
But I am an atheist.
Sure.
What would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, great question. The government I don't believe the government should ever compel belief system. So while I personally want you to know Jesus because you and I are sinners and we need to be washed in the blood to go to heaven, I'm never going to force you to do that. But from a political perspective, you need to understand that I will always defend the Constitution, and the Constitution doesn't give me or anybody else the authority to compel your personal beliefs. So if you don't want to worship or don't want to, exercise religion or worship anything, you're free to do that. I defend that right. I will absolutely defend that right against people that I agree with from a theological perspective. Primarily, I don't think that the Bible teaches that you should compel religion because, it's a free gift of salvation. Why would I try to force it down your throat? If you don't want to believe in Jesus, then you don't want to believe in Jesus. I'm not going to force you to do it. At the same time, I believe that if you understand from a historical perspective, the Bible makes incredible arguments. I think the best arguments for your rights, for your freedom, for free markets, to defend your property rights, to defend your voice, to give you a justice system that's not perverted, that's not corrupt, to have judicious and steward perspectives for your taxes. So as a Bible-believing Christian, even if you don't believe the gospel and you don't respect the Bible, there's plenty of passages in there that you can say, "Hey, Jarrin, your book tells you to have honest scales. Why are you cheating me?"
I appreciate your perspective on that, and I look forward to your victory.
Amen. Do I got your vote?
Yes, sir.
Amen. God bless you, sir. You have a good night. All right. Bye-bye. So I mean, let's just clarify. Everyone has a worldview. Everyone has a worldview. This gentleman has a worldview. He and I disagree fundamentally on like the most basic stuff because I believe the most basic thing is God and who Jesus is. When Jesus asked Peter, Matthew 16, "Who do you say I am?" That's the most important question I believe you'll ever answer. And so while I want this gentleman to believe the gospel, I'm never, ever, ever going to agree with the government to compel that belief system. We can talk about the right actions of government, but again, government exists in America to defend God-given rights. Those rights are protected whether you agree with the source of those rights or not. So as long as we understand what our rights are and we can understand what that is, you now have a context for government action and a justification for government intervention. If you're a Buddhist or you're a Hindu or a Muslim, I disagree with you. And my book tells me that there's significant consequences to not believing as I believe, but that's my belief. I believe it's true. but you've got the freedom to believe what you want to. That's America. It's freedom. And I think that's a good gift. I think that's a good thing to defend. I think that's a good thing to advance. We can live in peace and have different perspectives as long as we recognize the foundation of our country is that Constitution. As long as we defend the Constitution, I think we'll be good. I will say, because I am this way, you don't get the Constitution unless you have Christ. But that's, I can make an argument for that. But certainly from a secular perspective, from an atheist or a worldly perspective, if we can agree to defend the words that are in the Constitution and apply those to what we do in government, we can get along with anybody. And whenever I was overseas, whenever I was leading soldiers in Afghanistan, I've sat across from people that want to kill me. I've worked with people who hate my guts. So when people say, if anyone were ever questioning, can Jarrin get stuff done? One, I'm a business owner. I own 4 businesses. 2, achieve things there, so I have the capacity for leadership. But then I've also worked with people, tribal leaders, jihadists, multinational corporations, other, foreign entities, foreign military officers, worked with an interpreter, worked with foreign armies. I've got plenty of experience of working with people who have fundamentally opposing views of myself. It's normal for me. That's in my repertoire. That's in my professional experience. That's part of being an Army officer, is working with people who aren't you, who don't think like you, to accomplish stuff that you need to do. One person asked the question, what are your thoughts on what the FBI is doing lately? I will interpret this as what the FBI did at Mar-a-Lago, because that's top of mind. I think what the FBI did at Mar-a-Lago was illegal because I believe the FBI is unconstitutional. Article 1, Section 8, there's no justification for Congress to give the federal government the ability to have a national police, which is functionally what the FBI is. So because I don't believe in the constitutionality, I believe anything the FBI does is unconstitutional. Especially the weaponization and the politicization of the FBI, going after President Trump, because President Trump is the greatest political leader in the country, and the majority of the American people want him. They don't want him for him. They want him because of the ideas he stands for and because of what he's able to get done. How many people do I knock their doors? We've knocked thousands of doors. I guarantee we've knocked more doors than anybody in this entire race, probably put together. But out of all these people that we've knocked their doors, how many of these people have said, well, I really like President Trump. Some people just don't like the mean tweets. But yet they always want the policy. They always want America first. They always want the Constitution defended. You have to understand, folks, the Soros fake news, the propaganda, the Mockingbird media, these people do not have the same values as you and me. Everybody knows the propaganda that comes in through your eyes and in through your ears is for the mind. And a lot of these people reading the teleprompter that always happens to say the same thing, they're choosing the stories and presenting the words in a way that whenever it enters your ears, they're painting a picture that will get you away from America first and towards globalism. And when President Trump ran for office, and whenever he won twice, he did that because people voted for him. People wanted him. People want what he believes. And so for the FBI to do what they're doing to President Trump, I think is dastardly. I think it's dangerous. And here's my big word. It's deleterious to our constitutional republic. Because not only does it, from a prima facie, which means first face, from a prima facie perspective, it's unconstitutional. There's nothing in the Constitution that grants the premise of the FBI and National Police, which is functionally what they're doing. The second thing is, anything that an unconstitutional agency does is always going to be unconstitutional. You can't have unconstitutional roots and constitutional fruit. Yeah, it just doesn't happen like that. You have to have a good foundation. You have to have a justification grounded in the Constitution, or anything you do is wrong. Not to say everybody in the FBI is a horrible person. I'm saying that the agency should not exist because it's an unconstitutional usurpation of liberty, because it presumes the federal government should have jurisdiction from a interstate perspective to police on crimes. And I think that's abhorrent to a freedom liberty perspective, because again, once the federal government can seize the premise, or at least grant or frame the presupposition that it has the jurisdiction to have law enforcement across state boundaries, then the states are going to yield that authority, and they have to yield that authority to the federal government, because the federal government, that's a federal jurisdiction. That is an idea that the founders would have found abhorrent. They would have wanted Oklahoma to work with Kansas, and if Oklahoma said that, hey, our criminals in Kansas, bring them home, that's a Kansas talking to Oklahoma thing. That's not a person in Washington D.C. is going to tell Kansas what to do type of thing. They would not have thought that. They would have not have liked that. They would have hated that, actually. Because that's what King George III was doing. Go read your Declaration of Independence. King George III, the British guy, he would prevent lower courts of tribunals, and so he would stovepipe justice up at his level. So what the founders wanted before America existed, they wanted justice at their level. They wanted laws at their level. They wanted federalism, which, to my atheist friend, when Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, says to stratify leaders of government, federalism comes from Exodus 18, FYI. But the founders wanted lower courts. They wanted laws that they could actuate at the lower level, and King George would not allow it. King George was a tyrant. King George wanted to make sure that he was the law of the land, and this is why the premise of America is the law is the rule, not the ruler is the law. It's lex rex, not rex lex. And so America inverted the paradigm, which is why I could say confidently that the founders would have rejected the FBI. And so whenever we think about that and how to respond to that, states need to assert their sovereignty. This is 9th and 10th Amendment stuff. They need to assert their sovereignty, which is certainly something that I'm committed to. 918-845-9555 is this phone. This number is this phone. If you guys want to sign, just text sign, and then the address will show up. Boom, put a sign, and then we'll go on. August 23rd, the momentum is behind us. We've got the doors that are being knocked. We've got the message that's going. Go out and vote. If you're a voter in the district, I'd ask you to identify 5 people. The numbers of fingers on your hands, unless you blew a grenade up while you were trying to play as a little kid. You got 5 voters. Go get me 5 voters, please. Have them set reminders, and then on election day, prod them, get them to the polls. This is a turnout election, and we need the folks that want America first. We've got the national level folks that are saying that they want America first in this race. We've got the Carrie Lakes. We've got the Mike Lindells. We've got the Wendy Rogers. We've got the Mark Finchams. We've got the Gun Owners of America. We've got the Veterans for America First. We've got all the momentum from an America First perspective. If you do not want swamp, I'm your guy. If you want an America First combat veteran, I'm your guy. If you want swamp, if you want the corruption, Democrat, amen. But this election, August 23rd, I'd ask you to go vote. You can call, text me here. You can help me out right here, jacksonoklahoma.com/donate. I'd appreciate your time. I'm the America First combat veteran, Bible believer in this race, going to assert state sovereignty, going to defend the Constitution. I take no PAC money. I have no swamp money. I have no special interest money. And the fake Soros fake news hates my guts. We're gonna get it done, folks. We're gonna get it done. Appreciate your time, Lord willing. We will be back tomorrow, August 18 at 7 o'clock. Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a good night.